Hey guys, you get just me today. But guess what? I'm on fire about what I want to talk about. So this is going to be awesome. And also, I have some really, really good guests coming on. So I can't wait to share them with you in the near future. So stay tuned for those awesome episodes. So, what I'm on fire about is helping make your marriage everything you dream it can be. Did you know that the latest studies show that Latter-day Saint couples are similar in divorce rates now to any other marriage? Many LDS marriages end in divorce, and we are on par with the world's stats. And this is absolutely unacceptable. Something is terribly wrong here. I know we can do better. We know how important marriage is, and we have the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we've made sacred covenants, and we know exactly what God has in store for us if we are faithful. And so, what is the problem? Is it that we don't care about marriages enough? Our spouses aren't a priority. We are selfish. We aren't righteous enough. We aren't trying hard enough. It's none of these. I'm convinced that there are two reasons why our marriages are failing. And the first reason is that our parents didn't have a good marriage. So we weren't shown how. And the second is that our parents had a good marriage and then we married someone different from our parents. And so we don't know how. We just haven't learned how. For years, I tried to fix my marriage. I cared deeply about the outcome. My marriage was a priority. I wasn't selfish. I was doing my very best to keep the commandments, and I was trying so hard, but nothing improved. Sadly, everything got worse year by year. And I got to the point where I was excited for my husband to leave town for work. We didn't sleep in the same bed some nights. And when we were both home, we mostly avoided each other. And I realized at one point that I'd never felt more lonely in my life than when I was married. How crazy was that? Nothing was more discouraging than this realization. My whole single life, I had imagined being in this place where I would always have a built-in best friend. At least I knew what the problem was. It was my spouse, of course. If he would just behave differently, then I could be happy. You get it. If our spouses would just get a new or better job, or give us affection, or talk to us, or stop wasting time, or stop spending money, or stop looking at porn, or be more spiritual, or help out more, or want more sex, or want less sex. Think the way we think. Stop being mean. We could have an amazing marriage, right? You know, the one you thought you were sure you were getting on your wedding day. Well, I have the best news because your spouse doesn't have to change for you to find peace and hope and happiness in life and in marriage. And how do I know this? Because I did it and I can show you how. Your marriage really isn't broken. You aren't broken. Nothing is hopeless, truly. There are pretty simple solutions, and they'll feel so simple that you won't even believe they'll work, but they do. I'm not telling you that they're easy because they're not easy, but they are simple. And in the process, you will change and you will become the person and the spouse that you've always craved and wanted to be, and that you were hoping to always have. You'll get your best friend back. So, what I want to talk about are the three M's. I call them the three M's. Is your marriage miserable, like mine was at one point? Is it mediocre? Is it kind of blah? Like, you know, it could be better. You know that there's potential for the affection and the love and the desire that you had created in the beginning, but it's kind of just not there anymore. Or is your marriage marvelous? Is it just amazing? And you really don't need any help. Why are you here if it's marvelous? Probably because you have someone that you love very much who's struggling in their marriage. Maybe it's your child. Maybe it's your sister or brother. Maybe it's a friend or neighbor. Maybe it's someone that you know closely, that you associate with in your calling. We know now that in a lot of callings in the church now, we are being given the job of counseling and helping people through their troubles. And so, do we have the framework to do that? That is what we need. because I knew that I wanted to have charity. I knew that I wanted to have love. I knew that I wanted to forgive 70 times 7. I knew that I wanted to be grateful. I knew all the things that we learned as members of the church, but I didn't know the how. I couldn't figure out the how. I thought if I just told my husband what was wrong and what was causing me so much trouble, that he would be able to fix it and then I could be happy. And I also thought very often about how maybe the problem was me, but I couldn't see it. I mean, of course it's partly me. There's two people in this relationship, but what part is mine? I don't get it. Which part can I change? Which part can I see what I need to do? Like, which part is mine and which part is his? And it reminds me of a coaching session that I had recently with someone who said, I've been doing this work. I've been doing what you've told me. I've been taking your classes, and my husband is changing, but I haven't been able to do any of it right. So I don't understand, because he hasn't watched any of them, how our relationship is changing. And I said, it is because the feelings behind how you're acting are changing. You're feeling different, and he feels it from you, and he's acting differently. And then we had a conversation about how he's saying thank you all the time to her and being grateful to her, and she can't say it back. And she can't figure out why. And these are the kind of things that we learn in this work. So that's why I'm telling you that this teaches you the how, because I had the same kind of roadblocks in my relationship where I was like, why can't I just say I'm sorry? Why can't I just apologize? Like, what is going on? And why can't I act more loving towards him? Why is everything driving me crazy? Why this? Why that? Right? And you're not sure. And that's what this work taught me. So I worked on this. I did everything I knew how to do for 10 years till everything hit the fan. And it just got to the point where I was like, I cannot stay married if it's this bad all the time, if I feel this awful all the time. And so that's when I prayed this prayer, and I was way more humble than I think I'd been in the past. And it was 10 years in coming, guys, but I got this answer, and it was trust him in his process. And I then heard that exact same sentence on a podcast I was listening to that my sister sent me to. I mean, my sister sent me to try to help me with my marriage. And so I was like, what? This is the answer? This is the answer. Okay. So I joined the group life coaching program. And what happened was it was general life coaching. So it was things that were like about money and weight loss and business. And then there would be a relationship call thrown in. And then it would be another call that was general. And so I had to sift through everything to try to fix my marriage. But I knew that this was my answer from God. So I had to stick with it. And so I sifted through all of it. And I learned how to fix my marriage through the life coaching principles. But now, what I want to offer you is that all my program is, all that I have to offer is about the marriage and relationships. Most all the calls on there are about our spouses and why we're acting the way we're acting and how we change it and why they're acting the way they're acting. And then there's some about in-laws, and there's some about other extended family members that people are struggling with, but it's always relationships. Sometimes it will be teenagers, but this work works across the board. And the thing that we need to know is that our biggest pain point is what we need to fix first in our relationships. And we know our relationships are so important. And why? Why do they matter so much? Because it's what we are taking with us. This is what we get to take with us. And I've said this before, but I feel like I've learned that my most difficult relationships are my PhD program in becoming more like Jesus Christ. This is it, guys. So let's nail it. Let's not flail around trying to figure out, like I did for 10 years, what I was doing wrong. Let's nail it by figuring out what it is that we can do, what we have control over, what we don't have control over, and what really, really matters. So this is what we do. Well, look at this client's brain. who's saying, I just cannot say thank you. And he's saying thank you all the time. And I can't understand why. And we'll start to delve into the subconscious thoughts that she has had for years about this subject. And guess what we came up with? It was actually really cool. We came up with the fact that she thinks that her overall thought is, I should say thank you. And that makes her feel rebellious. And then she can't say it. She really can't say it. And so guess what? She doesn't say it. And so we just pondered on that and talked about it and tried to figure out, what is a different thing you could be thinking that would create a different outcome for you, that you would be able to say thank you. And I know you guys, this sounds crazy. Like, what's so big about saying thank you? But we all have these points that stop us and make us not the spouse and the person in the best version of ourselves that we want to be. We have no idea why. So guess what we came up with for her? We came up with this solution, which was, I can say thank you if I want to, but if I don't want to, it's okay. And guess what? She felt calm and peaceful and free and Christ-like. And then she was able to say thank you. And she was able to do the actions she couldn't figure out why she couldn't do. So this is what the work is. I love this work because it's today and it's in the future. It has nothing to do with the past, because as you learn in the very first videos that I teach, the past can't be changed. It just is what is. And so when we fight against the reality of what happened, what is, what he said, what I said, what went on, we just bang our heads against the wall because we can't change it. And so many of my sessions before finding this work were like, let's figure out why we're doing this and why we're doing that and what happened in our past. And I found that the way forward for me was, what we're going to do is, we're going to look at today and what we can do differently, how we can think about things differently. And then we are going to try to imagine our future with our spouse in a different way. That is exactly what we want. And instead of focusing on what we don't want all the time and saying, he's doing this wrong, I don't like this is bugging the heck out of me, we are going to focus on what we want. And that is going to give us completely different outcomes than what we have been experiencing. And if you don't believe me, then go to your marriage, see where you're having a lot of problems, and see if it's been fixed by focusing on the problem, by having the talk. We need to talk. Like, that is the worst thing any husband ever hears, is we need to talk, because you go over and rehash all the same stuff you've already rehashed like 50 million times, and you still are in the exact same spot and nothing has changed. And you're both more frustrated than ever. Like, we can't figure this out. We can't figure it out. And so I just want to share with you what I feel like is so important to know. Whether you have a miserable marriage, whether you just have a mediocre marriage, or whether it's marvelous, these principles that I teach will absolutely change your relationships with others. I can 100% promise you that these will change your relationship with others. I 100% am on board with Steve Young's book called Law of Love. And he says, love as God loves, and expect nothing in return, and heal others. Those are our jobs. And we can do it with this work, and we can learn the whys and the hows. So what I have is, I have a program where I made 30 videos, and I made them in 30 days. And if I can make 30 videos in 30 days, you can watch a video a day. If your marriage is miserable, I make them all less than a half hour, because I know how busy you are. And then there's a page that's just a workbook. It's just a worksheet. And all it is it's 2 pages, every single video. And the first video page, it's just what I feel like is the most important thing for you to remember from the video. And the second thing is maybe 5 to 10 minutes of looking at yourself and figuring out the whys. Why can't I say thank you? Why is this way in a marriage? Why can't we get any traction in this area of our life and in our marriage? So that is the work, and it'll take you less than a half hour a day most days, and you will change your miserable marriage. There's no way you can't when you do this work. And you get, because these 30 videos are the whole belief system behind what you need to make it better. So it's not an attitude adjustment, because that doesn't work. That is like you try to feel better about something and have a positive attitude, and then the next thing happens that triggers you and you're right back to square one and as mad as you ever were, or as frustrated or as upset. And so the positive attitude isn't going to work, but I'll tell you what works. And that is a new belief system. Like this woman that I was coaching, when I explained to you that she figured out to say to herself, it's not, I should say thank you and then feeling rebellious. It's, I can choose to say thank you or not, and it's okay. Either way, it's okay. And just accepting it. And guess what? Those are the things that are going to give you traction. So there's the videos. And then I have one other option that I offer, and it's a coaching program. And there's 2 live calls a week. And I coach people through their stuff. And this is for things that you feel like you really can't figure it out and you need extra help. There are 30 or more videos that are recorded of people who've been coached that you can listen to, and classes that have been given that I've had a lot of input from a lot of women who tell me this worked for me and this worked for me. And this is how I was Christ-like in a situation. This is how I figured this out. So there are these 30 videos, and guess what? This coaching program, it is 2 weeks free. So you can get on this week and just go, I'm going to do these 2 weeks for free. And I'm going to look at pornography, and I'm going to look at sexual intimacy. And I mean, they're all labeled, and you can go into your exact problem instead of trying to go through money, business, weight loss. You're just going to go in and say, this is what I could use help on. And then start watching the video. Because I know how busy you are. I know how crazy your life is. I know you have a ton of wifing, a lot of mothering. You could work, you have your calling, you have tons of stuff on your plate. So we only are going to just narrow in on what you need. So if you are interested in any of this that I offer, go to charlotteshieldscoaching.com and you can sign up for either program. We would love to have you in the coaching program. We would love to have you be a part of just listening to the other women who are sharing, and they have so much wisdom. You don't just have to listen to me all the time. The people in the program have so much wisdom, have been doing the principles, have been sharing these with their family members. I can tell you that these principles, they will filter into every other area of your life. If you have a bad marriage right now, it's like a dark cloud hanging over your head, and it filters into your parenting. It filters into your marriage. It filters into your work. It filters into when you're sitting there doing the dishes and the laundry. It's spinning in your head all day about the thing that matters most, which is your relationships with people that you love. So I would love to have you in the program. And if not, listen to the podcast that are free. Just listen and hear the people on this, the people I'm bringing on, like Sarah Allred last week. If you did not hear that, you want to go back and listen to that. I thought the main thought that was amazing that she gave us was build the ark before it rains. Basically, shore up your marriage. Make sure your relationships are really, really good. So when it does rain, you're solid and you can handle it. And you know that you've got a sure mind in Jesus Christ, and you've got a sure mind as far as mentally being capable and resilient of handling whatever comes your way, because you don't know what's coming down the pipes. None of us do. So it's just a great feeling to know whatever is, we've got this. So the main thing I always want you to know is that we can always seek and expect miracles in our lives. I've seen it over and over again. I totally believe President Nelson when he says, we can seek and expect miracles. And especially in these relationships with people that we love so much and that we want to work out. This is the greatest work, the most important work. So seek and expect miracles. And we hope to see you on the coaching calls. We would love to see you there. And until next time, have the best week, guys.